Welcome back to the Headbangers Ball. Right now we're joined with Matt and Jason from the band Saigon Kick, and a band that you probably heard me talk about because I'm a pretty big fan of these guys. Now, something about the new record. The new record is out and it's called The Lizard, and it's a little bit different than the other one. Well, I guess as it should be, being a new record.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me a little bit about the new record.
It's just more like the last record. I think we were a little less focused as to what we wanted to do because being a new band, you're trying to like funnel all your influences correctly. And this record, we just grew a little more, and I think this record is still diverse, but I think there's more of a line running through the whole record as opposed to just a scattering.
Now, when you talk about influences, your influences, I imagine, are very varied, because on the first album, as well as this album, it goes in a whole bunch of different styles, to being real heavy, to being very melodic, almost Beatles-ish, in a sense.
Well, I mean, anything from the Beatles to Queen to Bad Brains to Killing Joke, U2. I mean, it's just all over the place. You know? Just big music fans in general. So as long as it's done with conviction, we're pretty much fans of it.
Now, tell me about the recording of this album.
Well, we went to Sweden because we heard about an engineer. And
that's not the real reason you went there, though. That's the real reason you went to Sweden.
Well, no. What actually happened was we were going to record this record with Mike Wagner, but he was completely booked up for bass.
He did the first album, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he was just non-stop booked up. So, you know, we felt, you know, people have, you know, Saigon Kick in their head right now. So we wanted to get a record out as soon as possible. And we just had to bust it out. So we figured if we're not going to work with Mike, we don't want to work with anybody. So we wanted in our organization. So we looked around for records that the band had produced the record with a great engineer, and we found this guy named Ronnie Latti in Stockholm, and that's really the main reason. I mean,
so you kind of produced it yourself, right?
Jason produced it, yeah.
Wow, pretty well. Right now we're going to play a video from you guys. This is brand new. This is Hostile Youth from Saigon Kick. That was Saigon Kick with Hostile Youth, and we're here with Matt and Jason from the band Saigon Kick, and in the video it looked like you were like hanging outside of a helicopter. I mean, it looked pretty dangerous.
Yeah, basically what it was is in the beginning they're like, okay, Matt, you know, you've never been in a helicopter before, but there's 2 bars you can hold on to, and we're going to basically film the part where it's I can see you falling faster, your life is on the wall, and it's going to be over these pyramids. So
this was in Mexico?
Yeah, we're in Mexico.
The jungles of Mexico.
And I started holding out, and the guy's like, yeah, it's good, but it's not good, you know, because it looks like he's holding on to something. So, you know, they said, don't let go, and I let go, you know, and the helicopter's sideways. And
fell out of the helicopter and died. We had a new replacement.
Yeah, but, you know, it was pretty cool, you know, because I had a seatbelt on, but, you know,
Scary.
in Mexico, you really can't trust the seatbelt, you know. It's like a 1902 helicopter, and, you know, the pilot's like,
had like a crank on
he
the
had
front.
like 9 million guns in there, and
he normally goes and like dusts, I guess, drug dealers' crops with his helicopter. So he's like interesting.
And in between gun running, he makes a couple rock and roll videos.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was cool. You know,
logical.
the whole band was still alive. I mean, Tom jumped off this off the top of this cave into the water, and it had to have been 120 feet. And it was where they had virgin sacrifices, like 500.
In the Mayan
Now, how do you find these places to do videos?
Well, they kind of call out to us, Ricky. No, it's just...
Like, I know about this place in Mexico where you...
No, actually, the director, this guy named Mark Rocco, had done... he filmed, I think, Perry Farrell's new movie with Jane's Addiction. Gift, I think it's coming out soon. And we got to work with him, and he had done some stuff with Perry down there. And I guess that's how he started finding all these, you know, locations.
Okay, we're going to be talking to the guys from Saigon Kick when the Headbangers Ball continues, and we'll also have a debut from Slick Toxic, so please don't you go nowhere. Welcome back to the Headbangers Ball. We're here with Matt and Jason of the band Saigon Kick, and we were talking a little bit about the video and the new album, which is called Lizard, which is out in your stores. And maybe you could tell me a little bit about songs like My Dog.
That's a song that I wrote basically kind of for him musically, because his dogs kept getting run
My
over.
Dog, and you wrote about it for him.
No, his dogs. See, there's this thing. He had a lot of dogs at one point, and one by one, this terrible things kept happening. They kept getting run over,
One way or another.
one way or another, for some reason. And me having a really sick sense of humor, I decided to write this song for him.
Is it very emotional every time you perform that song?
Well, no. Every time, see, he wrote this one lick, and I just
No
kept,
pun intended. Being
Yeah. Well, what happened? It was I just kept hearing in my head, "Oh no, he's dead, he's dead," and then
You started singing.
okay, I'm gonna write this about.
But the
it.
song kind of is like a manic thing. It like kind of captures the emotion of walking out the front door. I mean, every kid in their childhood has had like a pet be squashed or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't think
Out of every song for me to pick on the record, I picked the one about getting dogs getting run over. Okay, let's talk about World Goes Round.
That song is just basically about kind of like at one point I was a big fan of some of the Anne Rice books, like Interview with the Vampire and stuff like that, and it's kind of talks about kind of going into like an underworld type trance and kind of subliminally floating around and doing different things like that. So it's got a lot of twists and turns lyrically that you can take one way or another.
So definitely this album goes in a lot of different directions, from dogs being run over to taking...
Yeah, to vampires, I mean.
Okay. Real quick, you guys got tour plans?
Yeah, we're starting the tour, and actually we're starting in New York City at the Limelight on the 20th, and then we're going to Miami. And starting
Which is where you're from, sort of. You're,
right,
the band is based in Florida.
Yeah.
We're playing the Cameo Theater, I think the 26th, and then we start there.
Real quick, before we go, thrash is very popular in Florida, isn't it?
That death metal scene's really big in Tampa and stuff like that.
That's-
Now, did you come out of what scene, or was it just the rock
Actually,
scene?
there's a huge dance scene and a huge rap scene in Miami, and there is a rock scene, but it's just breaking out now. And but the time where we really got signed out of those, Luke was happening with Two Live Crew, Gloria Estefan was like the big thing. But in Tampa, about 300 miles away, there's
A lot of great rap.
some death metal bands coming out.
Well,
every year.
I've seen you guys live, and definitely it's a good live band, fun one to check out. Good luck with the record and everything else.
All right.
I'm sure we'll be hearing more from Saigon Kick in the future.